Hey guys, Anne-Marie, life coach here, owner of the Soul Awakening Academy, training you, the next generation of spiritual life coaches and energy healers. So today's video is going to be around life being a mirror. So one of the things I teach you on the course when you train as in the Soul Awakening method and become a spiritual coach is that life is a mirror and will reflect back to you those unhidden parts of your psyche. So we look at the work of Carl Jung and we look at the work of archetypes and shadow. And one of the things that Carl Jung says is that we have unhidden, repressed aspects of us that can be kind of reflected back to us. The parts of our own psyche get reflected back to us in our version of reality. So quite often, if we have a fear-based belief, we actually have a filter system that switches on to look out for those beliefs, so we will spot them. And it's amazing how this works. So we really want to get to the bottom of our fear-based beliefs, get them out of the shadow and into the individuation stage of the psyche, which, as Carl Jung puts it, the individuation stage is the person who individuates, who knows himself. And it's a lifelong journey about knowing thyself, because thyself is always evolving and unfolding. But what we want to try and create in our life is some kind of self-acceptance, self-awareness, so we can live a life that's balanced and more harmonious, rather than being triggered all the time or hiding away from certain situations and certain people so we don't get triggered. So the shadow represents a part of our subconscious mind that contains all of the thoughts, feelings, beliefs, suppressed emotions, suppressed experiences that we'd rather not deal with or face. And a lot of us don't want to admit what goes on in our deepest, darkest closets of our subconscious mind. But all's being said and done, as a human being, we contain every aspect of being a human, multifaceted, and we contain an array of emotions, an array of abilities, an array of thoughts. You know, we can pick up on the collective unconscious bubble of thoughts as well, which is called kind of intuition, picking up on what's going on in the surrounding area. So life as a mirror is something that we want to work out. What is being reflected back to you? How are you being triggered? So if you're being triggered by a certain thing, certain people, certain traits, it's important that you stop and look at how that is already in you. We have everything in us already. It's just whatever we present to the world and whatever we project out to the world. You know, the true self is about kind of stripping back all of the conditioning and the way that we project ourselves out into the world to get a certain thing, like a certain need met, to be accepted, to be liked, to be loved, to be revered, etc. But it's not necessarily the complete true self. The complete true self accepts all of themselves, their deepest, darkest, weirdest thoughts about life, and they know that that is not the true self either. A thought doesn't mean it is you. It's just a thought, and we're in this collective universe together, and we're picking up on all kinds of thoughts. We're being bombarded by all different types of energies. But a lot of us want to repress what goes on in our deepest, darkest psyche, and that's called the shadow self. And we can't get away from our shadow, but what the shadow will do is it will reflect it back to us, to make us look at it, and it becomes bigger, it becomes darker, it becomes more of a problem when we don't accept that side of us, because we're trying to attach to a projected side of us. We don't want people to see the shadow. So think about what triggers you. If you have a client, you can do a technique to see what it is that is triggering them. And you can do a reverse technique, which they might say, okay, this triggers me about this person, and you can ask them, and where is that true for you? So helping the client find where that same statement is true that they might do in their life, that they might be unaware of. But what it does is it brings acceptance that we can all be like this, we can all do those traits. Why is it triggering you? So to help your client stop being triggered, do a technique, find out where the triggers are, and find out where that's true of themselves, so they can be more accepting of others and more accepting of themselves.